Steps.
Really a lot better today.
I'm still not flat, but you're fine. Joking around with my daughter, that she was like, just doing that camera. She just can't stop eating.
Dorothy.
I was getting some.
Jake and Jesse.
Yes, I knew they were.
Calling the City of Board Council meeting for Tuesday, August the 21st. Order, please stand for pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to note that we have three council members here tonight. Elizabeth Lazella is ill, and Chris Wright is also very sore from an operation he had last week. Both of them called in and asked to be excused, and I will entertain a motion to excuse those two.
I'll make a motion to excuse Elizabeth and Chris. I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Denise is here from the staff. John is out sick also, so, and I think Dave Casey is out somewhere. On the agenda approval, we got some minutes finished, so we have the minutes for November the 15th, 2011 to approve. And so with that addition, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Also, we approve the agenda.
Okay, second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, mayor's report. I want to give a report for John. Getting ready to do the vacuuming of the catch basins along the streets. They did an analysis last year when they did it. And this year they're going to do May Creek Road, First Avenue, Lewis, and US 2. And the rest of the catch basins do not collect enough material to warrant an annual vacuuming, so that they will be put on a 2 or 3 year cycle depending on where they are. And let me see what else that I have. Yeah, the well 4, we're painting the old well building so it matches the new well building. And on the north reservoirs, we're going out for quotes using the MRAC small roster list to get the north reservoirs painted, which was the last major item on the to-do list that the Department of Health gave us some years ago. So we're just about finished with that to-do list. And we got a sanitary inspection, the Department of Health, again, was timed for it and got a good report. Let's see, we've still got the water pump plan to do, and I think there was some question about a screen or something that John's addressed. So, that's going along well. Okay, that's all I have. Denise, you got a staff report?
I had the opportunity to race at Evergreen Speedway this past Saturday for the Mayor's Cup. I came in fourth. It was a lot of fun, and it was great to have that opportunity.
Who won?
I think he's from Kirkland. I've never met the gentleman before, but apparently he's ran for the first 3 years. He's won it. So he was first in line. I couldn't get past him. And then I got tapped in the back end on one of the back corners and kind of spun out a little bit, but got control, but lost my spot in third place. So I ended up fourth. But that's racing for you. Be out there again this Thursday and Friday for the drag races for the RB car club that I've gone to. Say the name.
So, those cars are drag racing?
I will be drag racing the 61 Ford Falcon sitting out here, and probably the 55 Ford Cavalry will be in it. It's all the car clubs. It's a grudge match out at the Speedway between the clubs and all the old hot rods and any newer cars that want to try to compete with the old classics or more.
Okay, thank you.
Subarus?
Okay, we'll start the council comments. Where do we start this time? On the list there. Here, who's listed? Yeah, you get to start.
Yeah, okay, so I like our, I guess I don't really know the title of his position, but the contract individual that will replace Laura, he's really good with the books. He helps us, the finance committee. He's been very cooperative with us. It's easy to follow what he does, and he correlates it to the budget quite well. And so we're able to track where we're spending. And I will also comment that with regard to the budget, that we're nowhere near out of the woods. We still have at least 5 months to go this year, and we're five out of, so 6 would be half, 50%. We're well over 50% in a couple areas of having spent what's budgeted. And I talked to the mayor about this a bit. We haven't come to any, conclusions. We're not over budget yet, but as we're approaching that limit, we just want to make him aware of it so that if there are any contingencies that he might think of, that we would be able to deal with it in that way. And then I was made aware by another individual on the finance committee of an incident that occurred this weekend, and I wanted to give my compliments to Casey for his efforts in that regard. And I guess Denise also, she was part of it as well.
Yeah, it was Deputy Cook that was out with us, and
Oh, okay.
Snohomish County Animal Control Officer Chad Davis was out, so, thank you.
No other comments?
I don't have any comments.
Bob?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Dorothy, especially for your write-up that you gave us to look at, and for everybody else. It's about how we all have the opportunity to control ourselves, and some of us are so new, but a lot of us are so new that I actually appreciate the feedback. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I should have said that as well. Thank you.
Okay, the next next thing up is citizen comments. Do we have any citizens who wish to comment? Jay Cure.
J. Freer, 14920 May Road. I wanted to make sure that I conveyed to Sergeant Casey that their people and the Snohomish County Animal Control really responded. Didn't take long. They had it under control in less than an hour and a half. I was really impressed. Thank you so much for all you did to get this mess straightened out. It was a sickening mess.
Let me interrupt you for a moment, if you don't mind. In case you don't know, there was some pit bulls over in the tracks that got loose in their house, came across, attacked one of Jay's dogs in his driveway, and called in, and Denise found it was a county dog that the city problem, ended up putting the county and a deputy cook in to handle the situation. And they were pit bulls and fairly aggressive, and there were too fewer of them now than there were.
Yeah, so when an incident happens like that, just so people have an idea why there were multiple agencies, is that it happened in the city of Gold Bar, therefore it's my immediate domain. To find the dogs, dangerous or potentially dangerous. I declared the dogs dangerous on the next day, getting together all the paperwork. There's quite a bit of documentation you want to have in order to serve them with. You can own a dangerous dog, you can own a potentially dangerous dog, but there's different rules you have to play by. So I got all the ordinances that thankfully the planning commission, the council had approved. So we mirrored kind of what the county has. We went out and took the two dogs the day of the incident that were there at the house. Two of them are still not accounted for. One of them that people admits is their dog. They say they don't know where the dog's at. We never did see her. I declared her also dangerous. Yesterday I went back out with the deputy and the animal control officer and asked her to release those dogs to the city. She did sign off on them and to have the dogs put down. Unfortunately, it is going to be a cost to the city. $390 is what I was told from Everett Animal Shelter was the cost at the time, plus $100 per dog to have them euthanized. I don't foresee us being able to get that money back from those people. You see them, or you see different people, and you know whether or not it's something you're going to be able to go after. We will look at our end, but it was really unfortunate what happened. But it was really thankful to the officer Davis from Animal Control Snohomish that helped me, because I'm definitely not set up for 4 pit bulls. 1, yes. 2 is a little iffy, but definitely 4 of those was, my huge concern was other people's safety, a lot of kids out, a lot of other animals, so it was just a quick reaction.
Okay, so excuse us.
It was an amazing piece of work. I was very impressed. By the time I got back from the vet, everything was under control. I knew where the animals were, where they came from, and they knew where they were going to pick them up. I was amazed. I wanted to make sure that Sergeant Casey knew that all those people did a really good job. First Street Bridge. Oh, the other thing is, of course, everybody wants to hang pit bulls out to dry, and I certainly haven't got any love for them, but we kind of tend to run a little bit of a looser lifestyle here, and it would be, we have accepted a lot of dogs into our yard and put them in our kennel and found out who the owners were, call them, they come, they pick up their little dogs and take them home. You can tell the difference. But when they get together like that batch did, it is unbelievable. They would not have stopped. I made the biggest mistake we'd just come home from town. And when they came in and went after our dog, I was in flip-flops. And I'm out there trying to kick those monsters. And if they had decided to change targets, they were going to get their way. They were gonna get their way. They were monsters. I don't know what we should do about something like that. I wish there were a consensus for limiting the exposure from that type of an animal in the city.
But again, the dogs are from the county.
I know, Joe.
But even in something like that, you know, of course, pit bulls belong to, a lot of people that say maybe are on the law enforcement are aware of. You know, I know some really good pits and some really good pit owners. But dogs are a pack animal. And if you've got, you know, whether it be a group of black labs, once they get in a pack, they still can get that pack mentality. It's unfortunate, you know, pit bulls are sheer muscle. But it's really it's the owners. It's the owners that are the issue. I don't believe it's the breed themselves, it's the owners.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. First Street Bridge, safety fence on the north end is unhooked from the top pipe support. And it looks like it was manually removed. Somebody reefed on it until they slid the end cap.
Oh, okay. So
And,
did they steal the board or something?
It doesn't look like it was hit by a car.
River access. It was river access. They can get to the water.
Oh,
Just
Well,
like
it's only,
fence
no,
around-
no,
No,
First Street Bridge,
The fence.
on First Street,
Yeah.
not before you go across May Creek,
Yeah.
Oh.
not this side.
Mhm. Yeah, it's just a straight fence,
Oh,
and
River
the
Bridge.
corner is all cattywampus.
And if we get to
Notice
it
that.
quick enough, we'll be able to save all the chain link. If we wait a couple of weeks, it'll be all tangled up and it won't be savable.
okay.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. Are the animals, is it safe now? Are the animals dealt with?
Two of them are gone, like I said, two of them are still unaccounted for. The male, or one of the dogs, Lily, is the female that they say is missing, is still unaccounted for. They have a male, but again, we didn't see him, so I wasn't able to have Jay give a positive ID. So there are still two dogs out missing. We're not really sure where they're at. We haven't had any, I haven't had any calls. You know, and they're, whether they have already retrieved their dogs and moved them, all we can do is, you know, deemed it dangerous, and Snohomish County again is gonna come down and mirror pretty much what I did, which is, you know, deem them dangerous, let them know that if she comes home, if they catch her, if they catch them with her, then it's, you know, it's a huge penalty for not. So they've already been instructed that if she comes home, they are to contact animal control immediately and release the dog to them.
Ms. Cottrell, yes. Speak loudly so we can hear you.
I'm just wondering, as someone who works up in that area where the dogs are from, are you allowed to let people know the address that they're from?
I cannot, but Mary is aware
Okay,
of where I was yesterday,
okay. Good enough.
if that helps you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, let's continue on. On our old business, we got our first reading of the budget amendment ordinance. We held off on that, last week, to get some updated information, and we're partly there. Let's see. Okay, Okay, updated the budget, a little bit. Let me pull the proposed budget up. Well, I'll pull the USDA. What we're working on, it's also on the agenda tonight, is the payoff for the reservoir. And the way this is gonna work, we have got a bridge loan basically from Cashmere Bank, interim construction loan they call it, and we've been paying for the construction by making draws off the bank and paying them interest on it. And then when the project is done, the USDA sends us a check for $1.76 million, and we send Cashmere Bank, we pay them off for about $1.3 million, and then we send a check back to USDA to pay off our existing loan of $382,000 change, and then there's money left over that we apply to whatever else that we've done because we added things to the original project. So that is still in work, and we're close on all the numbers on that one, but I haven't done the final work on the actual fund itself, because that's something Harry's gonna have to do. So you have the budget in front of you, it's very similar to what we had last week, if we'll do it up here, come on, okay. And I'll just pull it over here if you have, now, we'll go through here first with the ordinance. The way the ordinance reads, this is what we, the numbers here is the ordinance 363, I believe, that we used, 632, that we used at the end of the year for our 2012 budget. We've been needing to update it for a while. And so this is the format we use. We may change that later on. But it's the revenue and expense, and so what we're gonna do, we're gonna change it to the current numbers, the numbers we have on the current budget. And again, we have the revenues and expense in the standard format. The details are on the spreadsheet that I gave you. And like I say, there's a little change from last time. On my cursor. There we go, it's a little bit too big. It'll work. The thing about this, let me see if I can zoom it in a little bit. Nice. We'll have to live with it. The thing about it, the labor costs yet don't reflect the changes due to the clerk treasurer situation. There will be some increases, there'll be some decreases in the actual clerk treasurer, but the money we're spending on the two contractors will exceed the reduction. So we're gonna have an increase on that. It'll probably be council meeting after next before we have that completely worked out. And then the stuff in the yellow was the things that were changed. That you have in there. Most of them, I'm sort of curious why some of these are less than that, but, again, this is another cut. Like I say, we'll have to do this again later. If you have the paperwork in front of you, if you have any questions. Let me pull this over here for a minute. So I can see. See how this works. We can go through those pages. Everything is in pretty good order. There we go. So, and again, this represents the 77,000 that we, I'm sorry, City Street, I went one too far, there we go. Now, this represents the 77,000 that we're transferring in from the water. And we're still gonna have to rework this again.
Say that again, please, Joe.
Here's the 77,000, that's the money we transferred in from the water fund. And I'm gonna zip on down to the water fund.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes,
Is this ordinance supposed to match what Scott's budget proposal here?
yeah, I hope so. I checked it this afternoon and it did match.
Well, I was having some, when I see the expenses, total expenses match, for the general fund perfectly.
Revenue is starting fund balance plus income. Yeah, that's the RCW definition.
Okay, thank you very much, that explains it.
The better way to do it is the way LaConner does, because first off, because they have starting fund balance, they have income, then they got transfer in, transfer out, expenditures, and ending fund balance. So you got everything spread out. And you can look and see that the transfers in equal the transfers out, you know everything got crossed. The way this is done, it's better than what it has been in the past, but it's still not quite right, because they transfer out of the general, of the water fund into the into the litigation fund. It's counted twice, because the 77,000 is in there as income for the water fund, and then it also counts as income from the litigation fund. So you end up, in the total thing, you actually got a bogus number. Goldbar's been doing stuff like that for years, and hopefully the next time, I talked to the state auditor here, and he said the format that you put it in is not critical, and he feels that the LaConner way is a whole lot better than what a lot of people do. And so it's a question of how do you put the information up there without just driving people into rolling their eyes up the back of their head. Probably possible, but nonetheless, so. I jumped all the way to the water fund. The transfers in, we closed out the equipment account, and the transfer in shows the payment of the loans back. We have two loans, one we did 2 years ago, I think, that we're paying off. And then we'll be paying back the loan we borrowed money from. Let's see. And then I'm trying to find what I did here. Okay, here's the transfers out, the 77,000. And then I did 140,000 transfer from here to the reservoir construction fund. I forgot what fund number it was called. Because when we get to the analysis of that, we'll see that we added things on to the reservoir projects, about a little over $180,000 worth. Project itself came in under budget, so that we're only going to end up transferring around $140,000, it looks like. But those numbers will be will be pretty well cleaned up totally next council meeting, and then we will still need another intermediate budget change. This will get us through, this will bring us a whole lot closer to where we need to be right now. And the auditor talked about maybe making budget modifications 2 or 3 or 4 times a year. So, rather than like we used to do, just wait and then try to catch up at one time. There's one fund in here, let's see if I guess right. Nope. Oh, there's 2 funds in here. This is the reserve fund. We keep some money set aside to make the loan payment. Well, that's going to go up, and I didn't calculate that much, because I'm not sure what USDA is going to require us to keep in the slush fund to make a payment. It looks like it's about 9 months right here, but I'm going to have to get with them, and the person doing the work's on vacation. So that'll have to be adjusted again. And then we'll go here. Let's see. yeah, this is the loan payment, we'll be paying, get all these funds, we'll be paying back the loan, and so we have a loan payback fund, and this is it. And right now, we're paying, almost $28,000 a year, and that's gonna go up, to a larger amount. I don't know if I trust my numbers here. For this year, excuse me, yeah, for this year, it's gonna go up another 11,300. And so, we will have to be transferring money out to cover that. Again, this is a close number, but it'll vary a little bit. And then we have
So where did that come from again, the 11,000?
that's we pay, one more, yeah, here we go. We're paying $27,800 a year to pay off the USDA loan we got in 1995.
Right.
So what's gonna happen, in September sometime, we're gonna be paying off the new loan, which absorbs the old loan. And the new loan payment is gonna add another $11,300. It's about $72,000, $75,000 a year. And for 3 months, it's gonna add $11,300 to a payment. And so I cranked that in. I don't think I did a true. Yeah, I got 11,300 I transferred in out of the water fund. And then you go to the, to the new project. I didn't even try this. This is all sort of balled up a little bit, as far as keeping track of. So Harry's gonna have to figure this out for me. And so the next time we do it, but it still doesn't matter. It's all everything's covered by the transfer in and by the grant and by the loan.
So I'm gonna go back to the question Bob asked.
Okay.
This is kind of confusing for me, but under the water fund, under line 401,
Okay.
and then if we went down to line 408, we have the same issue. Except line 408 to me is more realistic. I'm looking at.
Fund for it.
Yeah, I'm looking at this here. I'm looking at.
Okay.
Which is what you're looking at there, but it's just,
Okay, yeah.
so 408 is kind of intuitive. 1.8 million and 1.5 million, so you get revenue expense, that kind of balances out. But under the water utility fund, so the $1 million there, and then you have 600,000 expense, and I'm just talking rough numbers. Then somewhere here, then we have another 500,000 in reserve, is that what that reads?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I'm not, now that I look at it, I need to look at that again, because that doesn't quite look right to me for some reason. We should be, that's 600 out of a million, so we got 400 left. Let me pull this over and see if I can find this.
Because that's really confusing.
Yeah, it's
Because
confusing me.
it
Give
says
me a
total
moment
income
here
for
to-
401 is much different than that.
Okay. Let's go to 4. Okay, all right, here we go. Let's look at, somebody grab a pencil. I'm gonna pull this one over here and magnify it a little bit. So we can read it. Okay, water capital improvement, the wrong capital fund.
It's the water operating fund. in fact,
Okay.
I believe this, actually, if you go to page 21 or 30 on your budget plan,
Yeah.
and that's what you've got up there.
Oh, yeah, that
It
works.
truly spells it out that our ending fund balance will be 402,000.
Yeah, okay, there we go. I was pulling numbers out of my head and, I was way off. Yeah, because there's the starting fund balance, that's the income, that's $1 million and change. And then we've got $600,000 we're spending,
Right.
and, means we're in the red, we're spending more money than we got income this year. So we're taking the reserves down, and we're still up with over 400,000. And,
We're spending more because we borrowed some?
we're spending more because, we loaned 77,000 out, and we put 140,000 into, reservoir items, the
Right.
12-inch main for the
Right.
additional fire flow, and a couple other things, the SCADA systems and such, and another 11,300 for the additional loan payment. So those things, that's 142 and 220. So that makes the difference. The warrant fund, has been operating in the black for sure, but we've been building up reserves for these sort of things. And then, of course, we got the painting of the North Reservoirs to do. We've also been replacing old water meters this year and doing all the maintenance and upgrades that we can.
So the reason this came up in a question I'm going to be upfront with you is that, I was wondering about the value of the water utility. That's what we have in reserve, and then there's whatever the capital structure is.
Well, I suppose we have to wait till the water comp plan comes out, but I suppose our net present value is negative right now.
Yeah,
I'm still struggling a bit here.
Okay.
The middle column there is the original, right? Original.
No, yeah, the original, yeah.
Okay,
And the left is the year-to-date,
right,
and the right is the proposed revision.
okay. So, I still don't know how we get total revenue of over $1 million.
You add 578, 185 to 433, 386. Starting fund balance plus income. That equals revenues. By, I wouldn't use the term revenue, but that's what the RCWs use.
So you're talking about the beginning balance of 578, is that right?
Yeah, and our ending balance is gonna be 412, so we're, you know, we're taking money out of the savings account, so to speak.
Yeah, I understand that process, I'm just trying to come up with the one.
So you have a starting fund balance, right below that you have income,
Uh-huh.
and then you have your ending balance, and that all goes on the revenue side, and then on the expense side, you have your outgoes.
Yeah, but the ending fund balance is, goes into revenue. Revenue is equal to the first two items.
Well,
By state definition,
If I what?
state
Well, the
That
state
doesn't-
gives you that allowance. I wouldn't use that definition.
that doesn't come up to 1 point, that doesn't come up to 1 million.
No.
That comes up to 800,000, or just shy of 800,000.
578 plus 433, 8 and 3 is 1141.
Well, okay, so you're in the right column, I'm in the left column.
Oh, no, the right column is the proposed.
Yeah, okay.
And why did the income go up? Oh, I see your point. Let's go find out why the income went up. Ah, that's the question. Oh, well, first off, we had the bigger starting fund.
With a transfer in of 10,000 too,
Oh, yeah, we transferred in,
11,000.
we transferred in,
15,
when we
wow,
closed
that's-
out the equipment reserve, and then the street fund is paying off its loan, and let's see, so we hired there, and then we had, and we got about 3,000 there. That doesn't, Street, 217, something doesn't look right, you are correct. Which, oh, here it is. No, that's the, oh, we're looking at the year-to-date. That's why, we're looking at year-to-date. Now, let's go back. Sorry about that. Get lost this one. Yeah, here's the original budget, and here's the new budget, and they're pretty close. Income's a little higher, expenses, income's a little higher, and starting fund balance a little higher. So those two numbers, these two numbers add up to what was on the first page and crossed out, and these two numbers add up to what was on the second page and not crossed out. And this is the year-to-date. So the reason this is low is because we're only 7 months in, or whatever, 8 months in.
We're done with stuff.
It's done with 7 months, yeah.
I guess I have more trouble just calling it revenue when some of us, bank, we already earned the money, it's not revenue this year.
I know, and I gotta tell you a story. I gotta tell you a story. Okay, got me on a story. Back when Hester was city clerk treasurer, she would take, her budget would be starting fund balance plus income, she called revenues. And outgo plus ending fund balance, she called expenditures. And when revenues equal expenditures, the budget was balanced. Now, those of you who remember algebra, A plus B minus C equals D. So A plus B is equal to C plus D. So the budget is always balanced. I mean, you could spend twice as much money as you had income, and the budget would still be balanced. I remember bringing that up to council meeting once. It wasn't not a lot of algebra people guy. Anyway, but the Laconer method is what it separates that out so you see where all the money
Is
goes.
that some of the transition we're expecting that,
Yes, that's some of the trend, that teeny very small part. There's transitions afoot.
okay, thank you.
How does it make us more understandable?
Yeah.
Here,
Okay, so where are we at here?
We
Our
need a
purpose is,
first reading of this, so that we can finish it up and have the second reading on the 5th with upgraded numbers. With Harry, he's gonna go over and work this over, and then he's gonna put it into the bias system. And then our second reading will be off the real.
so does that entail you reading this to us?
Yes, I need a motion to approve the, let me close this out. To approve ordinance 634 for a first reading.
Also move that we approve city ordinance 634 for its first reading. Now, according to what we were just talking about, appropriate Robert's rules of order, we took out all this discussion when we put the motion in. We did motion
Yeah,
first
that's
and then
right.
do the discussion. Is that
That's
right?
correct.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to learn.
Yes, that's,
No, the right
I
way.
don't know if it's required, but it is. In the meantime, Ray Coleman would like to make a statement, would that be okay with the council? Ray,
Is
would
this
you
supposed to
stand
be
up?
read?
Ray, stand
Is
up
this
and
supposed to
talk
be
about
read
it.
by more than just title only or something?
Just by title only.
Okay.
We'll have copies for those of you who wish to read it.
That's a question in my mind as well. And the way the motion was stated left some question in my mind too. What was actually stated?
That we approve the city of Goldwater ordinance number 634
No, for first reading.
for first reading. Thank you.
For first reading.
Yes.
It takes 2 readings to pass an ordinance, and we can modify the ordinance between the first and second reading,
Which is what's going to happen.
which is what's gonna happen.
I don't think I would have said that, but in any case, we got a motion in a second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. So, to conclude, what we'll be doing we're working on closing out the reservoir, and as soon as we get the last bits of numbers in, we'll talk about that later, then we'll go over and redo this again. You brought up some things, and Harry will look at it, and he's going through, the whole financial system. So, he may have some other comments on it, but the budget is pretty much what the budget is right now, and we will, I will probably have everything done in a week or so, so you'll have plenty of time to look at the detailed budget before we get to the second reading, the time to come beat on me about it. Okay, this is gonna be a quick discussion on auditor activities. We have two auditors working, on Gold Bar right now. One is a schedule, let me see the notes here, so I'm sure you read the jargon you gave me. Okay, we have a Everett-based state auditor here this week. He's examining our 2011 financials and doing the scheduled expenditures federal award audit. That's a formal audit that we have done whenever we have federal contracts, which we have two of. And so he is going through that and going through that in detail, particularly the 2011 stuff. And there's been some other issues raised, and he will be doing some additional work on other issues once he's finished that. In addition, we had someone hack our bank account, get the bank check number, create fake checks, and all sorts of stuff. We've been swatting those down and working with Bank of America, and that's a reportable item. And so we have a second auditor who is going to be chasing that with us. In the meantime, we've got the Snohomish County Sheriff and the Portland Police Department working on one person, and there is a name that keeps appearing up, but he doesn't seem to exist. They do stuff like some guy walked in and evidently got some computer repair and bought some computers and paid for it with a check from Gold Bar. And his name was Joe Beavers. And so the Portland police officer was a little suspicious, and she asked me my birth date, and discovered that I wasn't 40 years old. So, and there's all sorts of stuff. I just got a call the other day, some guy said, well, I got this order from Uganda, and you're paying for it with the city of Gold Bar check. And I said, I don't think so. And so he's chasing it, and he was in San Jose, and last year we had people all over the U.S. getting city of Gold Bar checks. And so we closed the account, and Harry's been working on that, again, to making sure there were some accounts that were difficult to close, and it took him the second day, he had them all taken care of. And, so he's working that, and we're working tightly with, AWC and with the state auditor and with Bank of America. So far, there hasn't been any money lost by the city, but there is a lot of labor spent, and Bank of America labor, and auditor labor, and county sheriff labor. And I've been really surprised the type of work that these guys can produce that's totally fake.
Now, all that labor is, we're not liable for that labor.
No. But still, it's still a absorption of labor that could be used for more better purposes. Anyway, so that's about it. Any questions from the council? On anything? In part of it, this is part of the stuff that Harry's been working on. We're taking stuff off our website that we used to have on. Information on the website that was not wise to put on.
Yeah. You mentioned two auditor activities, but in fact, there are more going on. Referring, of course,
To the Laura thing?
yes.
There is some auditor activity going to the Laura thing. The guy who's doing the federal stuff has got a few things he's been given to work on. They are second in priority to him doing the federal audit. So he will be probably get into them in a week or 10 days. Yeah, let me get this. I guess this is the time to give a status of some things that have happened. Laura applied for COBRA, which is the put the city hat on that was her termination date, if she wants to get it, she can buy it. She also applied for unemployment, and that was denied, we got the denial letter today. So we'll see where it goes from here. Anything else?
Is there any consideration of doing criminal charges, or there's been no crime committed? or- I've heard
Oh, well,
various things.
the police report has gone to the county prosecutor, and he decides, what direction to take on it.
Gotcha.
And we have got a variety of commentary from different people on what they thought it was, but none of them count,
Right, thank you.
including myself.
And me.
So that's about where we sit on that. Okay. Reservoir finance ordinance, okay, this is another ordinance. The way this works, let me pull the budget up here. This is the project here, I'm just gonna scroll down. We had a final budget for doing the reservoir. We've paid a lot of money to date, we got the money from the bank, and pay people. And then, we still got some leftover money to pay. The biggest amount is paying off the old loan. And what it comes down to, the project, and there's gonna be a few more things probably thrown in of the project, it's a little over $2 million. Now, the grant, $250,000, and the loan for $1.766 million add up to a little over $2 million. And like I said, we started thinking that the city would ante up about $180,000. And it turns out right now we're sitting at just under $140,000. It's gonna come out of the city water fund to pay. This is not quite right, it's unaudited. For example, this number's a few $1,000s low, and we're still getting everything cleared up. This one right here, for example, this pay to date covers all three of these items. That's the way the engineers are keeping the books. And so when I did the still to pay out, there's a negative number here, positive number here, positive number here, and they pretty much cancel out. There's, I think, $32 left. And these do cancel out, let's see. I think there's some money left here, and I think those cancel out. So it's a little bit difficult to read. And the restructuring actually came in under their original budget, so that's why we have about $40,000 better than we thought we could be. And that number's gonna erode a little bit, but not much. So that's where we sit on the reservoir budget, and we're scrubbing everything right now.
So I have a question, just for my own edification,
Yeah.
because I have a bit of ignorance here, but the reservoir, this budget for the reservoir is for a specific project. The reservoir itself actually sits under the water fund?
Yeah, that was the one we talked about that I said the fund was all messed up. It had several, we had millions of dollars that was scattered about. And that was because, I'm not sure why it was because, it's beyond my ability to understand that particular bit of financial presentation.
Well, actually, by setting it up unto its own entity here, we have more visibility and therefore presumably more control. And that's not a bad thing. But I think of the reservoir as being a part of the water system. And
Yeah,
so-
it's a 400, it's in the enterprise fund. It's,
Yeah.
and what happens, we've got, all those 400 numbers are the water system, and they're different aspects. And it's done for convenience of separating projects out, such like this. This is what's called managerial accounting. In other words, you present it as a project, so you know the project is doing. And what the bias stuff does is called financial accounting, which is following the the various accounting rules and definitions. And there's always the battle between the financial accounting and managerial accounting. They have slightly different functions. Any more questions?
No, that's it.
Okay, here's the ordinance. It's 27 pages long. It was written by an attorney,